Hi, good morning, Denise Buchanan. You're the first person to join us. Beach Minh Mama, Patty Brown. I wanted to start a few minutes early before our guest got here so I could connect with you out there and let you know how much I appreciate you. Let you know that I hope you're having a good Monday. Say happy Monday to you. I know for many people it's a tough Monday, but it's Monday and we're trying to make the best of it. I started, Patrick, just for a few seconds before you got here so there'd be enough people for you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes. So, and before we welcomed our guest, Mike Rowe, I hope people had a nice Easter, a nice Passover, a nice time with their families, even if they were joining their families virtually. I hope they had a lazy daisy weekend. Why are you moving the camera over there? So I have to go over here now.
I'm just moving this sign. I'll move it back on you a little bit.
No, we're back on you. Right now it's on your sisters over there. Anyway, we had a really nice weekend.
We did. We ate a lot.
Went to Mass virtually, which actually turned out to be really nice. Actually, St. Monica's did a Mass. They do a Mass online all the time. So I know many people went to Mass online. Mike Rowe is already there. Holy macaroni, he's early.
How do you know?
Because I just saw it said Mike Rowe.
Oh, you're getting better at your technology.
Yes, I am. I actually did it without you early Sunday morning for Sunday Paper Live while you were sleeping.
Maybe I'm not needed anymore.
You are. You're always needed. And I like because Mike Rowe does things with his mother all the time.
I saw that.
Yes.
And I believe she has a new book
She
coming
has a
out
new
today
book. Yes.
or tomorrow.
Today or tomorrow. He'll tell us. But when I look through his Instagram, it's a lot of it is about his mother.
Well, are you going to give an introduction? I thought reading Mike Rowe's introduction and his biography was one of the funniest, and I'm curious to see if he wrote it because it was so self-deprecating and humorous at the same time of showing kind of his accolades and what he's done with his work. So I got to see. Did you?
Yes, I read that. Yes, and from
he
what I know,
enjoys his free time is talking about himself in third person. Or writing about himself in third person.
Sounds like your kind of guy.
I know, it does.
Yes, he sounds like your kind of guy. And he's hosting this incredible show on Facebook Watch. It's called Returning the Favor, and it's so inspiring. It's all about giving back to regular people who are out there day in, day out, trying to make the world a better place. And that's why people are commenting about your T-shirt. Oh, that's a Kobe.
Actually, my mom got it. She went to
his
memorial and got it for me because I was out of town.
That's correct, yes.
It's a great shirt.
It's a great shirt, yes. Anyway, and the show, Returning the Favor, is so inspiring. It's on tonight, so you can watch it on Facebook Watch, but we should probably let him come on. Can you do that, please?
Yes, I can do it.
Oh,
there we go. Bada
Mike
bing,
Rowe.
bada boom. Here you go. Welcoming Mike.
The one, the only.
Coming in.
He's coming in, Mike Rowe. And we don't know where he is.
Wow, it's been 4 years today since Kobe's last game. I was at that last game.
You were 4 years today.
I hope they're replaying that tonight.
I'm enabled.
Mike Rowe.
Hey.
Get that. I'm so enabling. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Oh, just absolutely living the dream.
Well, I said to Patrick, look at Mike Rowe spending all of his time promoting his mother. You should learn from Mike Rowe.
My mother has written a truly hysterical book and decided to get it on the shelves at the height of the plague. So, as a good son, it is incumbent upon me to sing her praises, tell her story, and hawk this thing with the white-hot intensity of 1,000 suns, like I used to do once upon a time in the middle of the night on the QVC cable shopping channel. That's
I read about that. I was just saying how your biography or your kind of elevator pitch for Mike Rowe was one of the best that I've ever read, and I didn't know that's how you kind of started was in the QVC space and being able to talk about a pencil for 8 minutes without stopping.
Well, you know, that's our industry in a nutshell. You know, the ability to spend long periods of time saying absolutely nothing at all. And the less you have to say, the more dramatic you make it sound. And if you can pull that off, then people hire you to impersonate a host, which I did for 25 years or so.
Yes, but you're more than impersonating the host. Let's talk about the show that I love that you do. It's called Returning the Favor. And I was just explaining before we came on with you, it's on Facebook Watch and it's on tonight. So people can go and watch Returning the Favor. And it's so great because it's inspiring. And you've been doing these specials, Mike, in the time of COVID. Why did you want to do that right now? Because everybody else has stopped production.
Well, because the chair I'm sitting in right now is about the only place I can get my butt to. So I sit here and we figured out a way to do our show remotely. And the craziest thing is the last 3 episodes we've done from here have reached over 12 million people.
Wow.
And the 70 or so we've done over the last 3 years have reached well over 300 million. So this has turned into a thing. You know, I'm always late to the technology party, but you know Michael Rourke, I think he was a page back in the day or something like that at NBC, right?
He was a page at NBC, and then he worked for me for about 8 years.
Wow.
And one of my dearest and best friends on the planet, and he is the producer of the show, a great man, great humanitarian. And I'm so proud of him for doing the show.
Well, you know what? I am too. And I'm more suspicious of earnestness than you might think, but I'm doing this show because so many of my friends in the industry who are really decent people have wound up working on programs over the years, and I'm not going to mention any names, but various programs that they're not necessarily proud of, right? It's just the way of the world. So Michael, the producer of this thing, and everybody over at Hudson Media is so pleased to be doing a show that is genuinely warm and real. We just go around the country looking for people who are slightly better than us. And then we surprise them and we give them something that allows them to do more of what they were doing anyway. And we just started throwing these things up on Facebook 3 years ago. And the next thing we knew, it was bigger than Dirty Jobs, right? It was just like, for me, I'm just getting tens of thousands of notes week after week after week after week. The community, the fans of the show, they program the show. So all the ideas come from people who watch it, and we just go out in the world and try and, spread a little sunshine.
Well, you're returning the favor. I love the title because all of the people that you profile are out there doing this, whether you're helping them or not, right? They're out there trying to, as I say, move humanity forward. They're trying to make their communities better. And you come in and you amplify their work. You amplify. And let's talk a minute about Kavanaugh Bell, the young boy that you talk about tonight. He's 7 years old. He took his entire life savings, which was $600, to make these care packages for senior centers. So tell a little bit about what you did for him, Mike.
Well, that's the headline, right? This kid is in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and he went to see his grandma and really wasn't allowed to, and learned that she needed things that she didn't have. So he put together a care package and got it to her. And then he looked around at the nursing home and realized it was full of other people who were lonesome and they needed simple things. So this kid, he takes $600 and he starts by hand putting these packages together, and his mom helps facilitate the delivery of them. Well, somebody in the local news got wind of it and did a quick little piece on it. And then I got wind of it. And because my mom lives not too far from there, I did a Zoom call with my mother. The production company arranged a surprise for the kid. And basically what we did 2 things. We made him whole. We gave him $600 back, because when you're 7 years old, right? When you're 7 and everything in your world is $600 and it's gone. I mean, that's the kid's wiped out at 7. So we gave him $600, and then we gave his mom 10 grand earmarked for his education. Wow. So, the fun thing about a moment like that, I mean, obviously it's got all the feel good stuff you want, but here we are stuck, isolated, sequestered, separated, quarantined, sheltering in place. How are we going to do this? My mom hops on in front of her computer, talks to this kid's mother. Everybody's crying, money's flying back and forth. Nobody knows what's going on. And it's a hot mess, Maria. It's a hot mess of well-intended altruism, and people dig it.
It's so inspiring.
Yeah, and we can't wait to watch. It's out tonight, the next one, correct?
Yeah, but honestly, in Facebook world, it's always on whenever you're there. It's, I don't even know how to talk about premieres anymore. We do one a week, right. But then people find it like for the first time, and then they'll go back and they'll watch all 70 or 80 or however many they are.
Can you hear us? We're there?
Yeah, you can hear us, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So talk about your passion, Dirty Jobs. I mean, it's a show that seems so relevant today because you were highlighting jobs that so many people didn't want to do, and you've always been a big spokesperson for small businesses and a lot of America's backbones. And I've seen you recently highlighting these workers today, and how finally during this time of Corona and COVID, people are finally recognizing our grocery workers to a different degree, our landscape gardeners, or these types of people. Can you speak about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Dirty Jobs fundamentally was a celebration of unsung heroes, or as we would say today, essential workers.
Right.
But when times are flush and people are prosperous, you don't really think about those people. So Dirty Jobs came on at a time when reality TV didn't really exist. It was back in 2003. It was a very different approach to television and production, and it worked. But then in 2008, when the economy crashed, suddenly Dirty Jobs became relevant in ways nobody really anticipated, because we're in a recession and everything's tight. So that made that show weirdly relevant. It just happened again with Returning the Favor. For the last 3 years, we've been out returning favors, and it was a nice show and people loved it. But all of a sudden now, the whole world, the whole country is hyper aware that there is no such thing as a non-essential job, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so we talk about healthcare workers and we talk about delivery people, and you can go down the list. But when you talk about the economy, and we've got 17 million people now who have lost their jobs. So on the surface, those jobs would appear to be non-essential, right? That's why they lost them. But look what's happened to the economy as a result of their absence, right? So that's kind of where we are right now. For me, it's full circle. Dirty Jobs started with a celebration of essential jobs. Returning the Favor is now a realization that all jobs are essential, and everybody is out there doing the best they can in their own way. Somewhere in between those two shows, to answer your question, Patrick, I started a foundation called MicroWorks.
Right.
And the focus of MicroWorks is on the skills gap. So pre-corona, our country had 7.3 million open positions that required training, not a 4-year degree. So most of what I do in my spare time on the foundation side is try and make a persuasive case for millions of good jobs that exist that for whatever reason people don't aspire to, and then provide a scholarship for people who want to get the training necessary to do those jobs. So that's a long way of saying Dirty Jobs is here, Returning the Favors here, MicroWorks is in the middle, Deadliest Catch, the crab fishing show, is over there.
Right.
Basically, I've been doing the same show for 20 years. I just changed the title every 6 or 7.
So speaking further on your foundation, are you just inundated with people kind of wanting to now go down that route?
It's a great question. And last I checked, right now in the month of April, we are taking applications for our next round of work ethic scholarships. We have over 10,000 so far.
Wow.
And we're giving away $1 million. I do this every year right around this time.
Right.
Last year around this time, I think we had 3,000.
Okay.
Now we have 10. So people are starting to get it. They're starting to realize that the best path for the most people might not be a 4-year degree.
Right.
might not be the most expensive path, you know, and I think that's an important realization, and it's a big part of what my foundation tries to debunk.
Yeah, Mike, now where do people go if they want to apply for a scholarship, if they want to get help, if they want to add on to that 10,000 number right away, where do they apply?
Mikeroweworks.org. My name, Mikerowe, works.org. Just click on the link. Look, you got to jump through some hoops. These are work ethic scholarships. It's not complicated,
Right.
but we ask you to do stuff that a lot of scholarship funds don't. You know, I'd like to see a video of you making a case for yourself. I'd like to see a short essay. I'd like references, you know, things that employers ask for. I think it's important because the money I raise and give away really comes from Instagram and Facebook. You know, I've got 5.5 million people who, for whatever reason, are curious about what I'm doing, and they have been hugely instrumental in not allowing me to quit. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
every year we do it again. So we're in our 12th year now, and I'm proud of it. You know, it's we're moving the needle, and now we have stories of people who actually prospered as a result of learning a trade, and you know that's gratifying.
So some of the questions that I had asked people what they wanted to ask you, and some people said, like here, which trade jobs do you think coming out of this Corona period will be most in demand?
Well, the short answer is the same ones that were in demand prior, only more. So obviously healthcare is going to be reimagined. It's going to be something I think we haven't seen before. I think education too, sidebar, is going to be reimagined. What we're doing right now and all the Zooming and all of the go-to-meetings, right? That's going to allow people to learn in ways that I don't think we've seen either, which is going to make the whole trade experience, I think, a lot more attainable to a lot more people. But to answer your question, welding, plumbing, steam fitting, pipe fitting, mechanical, right? I mean, mechanics today, so many of them that have come through our foundation wind up making six figures because it's software engineering, it's rocket science. They're huge opportunities that people just don't get. We've heard stories about the six-figure welders. Those stories are real. They're all over the place. We've trained a few. But I think it's a kind of a trick question to point to a very specific trade, because the way the trade world works is a little different than the way the white-collar world works. If you master welding, for instance, it often happens that you wind up getting into carpentry or into plumbing or into heating, air conditioning, electric. And then the next thing you know, you have a small business and a couple of vans and half a dozen employees.
Right.
We see this happen all the time. So my better answer to that excellent question is to say that it's really not about the job. It's about the path. And if you get on the path into the skilled trades, I believe in the next 10 years, if you're willing to work and travel, you got to go to the work is in many cases, you're willing to do that, you can write your own ticket.
Wow. And speaking of the path, I have a younger brother who's a senior in college. He's graduating, or he's supposed to graduate next month. And he lives with a bunch of his friends, all who have, you know, great degrees from, or about to get degrees from Michigan, University of Michigan. And all of their jobs just got taken away. They all thought they were about to go into the summer with jobs lined up. What kind of advice would you have for people that have gone down that path versus, you know, the route that you've been saying of, you don't really necessarily need the degree, but you can go and do these, you know, six-figure plumbing work and stuff?
Yeah, well, not to pile on, but it's not just that their jobs went away. It's what didn't go away. And what didn't go away was their debt.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you're educated for a job that doesn't really exist. You've got an $80,000 millstone around your neck, and you might wind up in mom's basement for a couple of years. Now that's a cautionary tale. I don't want people to have to endure that. Your question is, okay, those are the cards you have right now. How do you play them?
Yeah.
I would say.
Or what advice? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's always a way out, but the way out in this instance depends entirely on your ability and your willingness to hit the reset button. There's still time, as Led Zeppelin said, to change the road you're on. We see it all the time now with people 30s, 40s, and 50s. They just do over. I want to do over. Well, look, if you're 22, 23 years old and you've got that kind of debt, they can't take the knowledge away from you that you have. But as much as moving forward is going to depend on your ability to master a useful skill, you're also really, really going to have to manage your finances. And I'm not an expert in finance by any stretch, but this business of debt, guys, it's very difficult to have this conversation without stepping back and saying, it's not that college is bad. My liberal arts degree served me well, and I got mine in 1984. It was 2 years at a community college and then 3 years at a university. Liberal arts communications degree. When the dust settled, it cost $11,200. Today, same school, same courses, same exact everything, is just over 90 grand.
Crazy.
People, I know I'm not answering your question, Patrick, but it's an important point. So I'm hijacking the exchange for a moment just to simply say that people need to be righteously horrified of the cost of a 4-year degree. It doesn't mean a 4-year degree is bad. It just means if you're not certain, if you're not really sure about what you want to do, then take a breath, learn a skill first. There's always a chance to go back to school. And more than anything else, I just hate to see kids sign on the dotted line when they're not sure who they want to be or what they want to do. And they find themselves in this exact situation.
You have a great video actually on your Instagram page that I watched about explaining the debt and going into community colleges. And then when you actually have a skill going on, it's actually really worth watching. It's very well done. And I think it is really thought provoking. You talk a lot about the sweat pledge. Mike, what is that so people understand? I know you talk a lot about work ethic, you talk about motivation, but what is the sweat pledge in your opinion?
It's one of those hoops you have to jump through. It's one of the things you have to sign. I was looking 8 years ago to, figure out a way to crystallize what it is I believe makes a good employee. And I had some wine, full disclosure, I was home, I was sitting around, took a legal pad, started writing down some ideas, things, qualities that helped me when I was trying to make my way in my chosen field, and qualities that I value as an employer today. And 12 things came out. It was just a statement of purpose. Sweat stood for skills and work ethic aren't taboo. And so I put this together. It's kind of a combination of the Boy Scout law and the 12-step recovery program, right?
That's right.
So if you want to apply for a MicroWorks work ethic scholarship, one of the things you need to do is sign the sweat pledge. Because, look, it's not perfect, but I don't know how to quantify Patrick's work ethic, until I at least have a conversation with him and start to see, what are your thoughts on gratitude? What are your thoughts on delayed gratification? What are your thoughts on safety and personal responsibility? And, all of these things that really came out as lessons from dirty jobs years ago, now consist of or are part of a manifesto of sorts. And so it just became a thing. Sweat pledges now hang in guidance counselors' offices and everybody who applies for a scholarship, and people buy them. They're only $12, but the money goes to the foundation. And we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, auctioning things off through my garage, selling sweat pledges. We're a very non-traditional foundation that's so far awarded about $5 million in scholarships.
Wow.
So look, I'm not doing it the easy way, but we're doing it the real way. And we stay in touch with the people who we help. And now we're in the business primarily of telling their stories, because they're a lot more articulate than I am, because they're the real, they did it.
Yeah.
So like when you, I wish I could tell you a better story, Patrick, to get back to your other question. But if I had somebody here who got a welding certificate and they were able to explain to you over the next 3 years how it was they wound up working on heavy equipment up in North Dakota, making $180,000 a year with no debt, then you would have a better answer and a personal story and a face to attach to it. And that's when things get persuasive. That's when the needle starts to move. And that's, when you can change lives.
That is so awesome. That's incredible. And one final question there, Mike. Somebody said, if you were 18 today, what trade would you choose?
If I were 18 today, I'd buy Microsoft. Well, it's a great question, but it's kind of a tricky answer, because part of what we espouse at MicroWorks is that all jobs are trade jobs. There's the skilled trades, and they represent some traditional blue collar stuff. And my answer to the question is welding, because it's a great way in. But my better answer is to say that, you and Patrick and me, we can approach our work as tradespeople. And tradespeople, like dirty jobbers, tend to look at work as a thing with a beginning and a middle and an end, right? People used to ask me all the time, what do dirty jobbers know that the rest of us don't? Well, why is everybody having so much fun on that show? And part of the reason is because they know when they're done. You guys probably have a desk at work. Your desk at work probably looks a lot like it does at 5 PM as it does at 9 AM.
Huh.
Tradespeople, they know how they're doing. They can see the pipe going in the ditch. They can see the wall going up. They can see the wire being run. Constant feedback. You always know how you're doing. And if you think of your work that way, whether you're a fake host like me, or actual host like you, or a terrific writer like my mom,
there you go.
It doesn't matter. If you look at your work like a trade, then for me, you immediately become somebody different. You leave the place of being an employee, somebody who is in many cases too dependent, and you become more of a freelancer. You become more skilled. And truly, when you have a skill, when you've mastered your skill, whatever field you're in, that's when you have autonomy. And if you have autonomy and skill with no college debt, that's when you have freedom.
Right.
And when you have freedom, you can quit. And there's nothing more fun to do than quit one job and start another one. People are scared of quitting. They shouldn't be. I got fired from every job I ever had, Patrick. 300 dirty jobs. Never got asked back.
I saw you got fired from the graveyard shift.
You bet. And deservedly so, I might add.
Mike, several people here are saying, great at 18, but what do you do if you're 40 or 50 and you've just lost your job? How can you start over at 40 or 50? Can you go in and become a welder? And several people have said to me, make sure you mention it's not tradesmen, it's tradespeople, because there are women obviously becoming welders and others. But can you start this line of work at 50?
Yes, but I'm not going to paint a rosier picture than it is. It's hard, right? I mean, it's always hard to restart. You can always do it, but is it harder at 50 than 20? Yeah, I think it is. But look, the more empowering point is the one you just made. It is tradespeople. Women today, in my view, have no idea the extent of the opportunities that are waiting for them in the construction field. In fact, the most recent video we did on MicroWorks highlights a woman named Victoria Knight. Victoria Knight applied for a MicroWorks scholarship a couple years ago, met another woman in her class, and she basically wanted to redo houses, right? She was full on construction. These two met, started a company. So it's skills meets entrepreneurs. Now these two women are rehabbing houses, and we spent the day with them not long ago over in where were we? Fort Wayne, I think. Was it Fort Wayne? Doesn't matter.
We were.
No, South Bend. South Bend, Indiana. That's where it was, Notre Dame. But I mean, not to free associate, but when you see a 25-year-old woman who hit the reset button and just decided she was going to go into construction, and now she has her own company. It's called Hard Hats and Heels. I mean, that's
great.
just,
That's a good
it's
name.
incredible.
That's
It's
great.
incredible. So,
That's inhaled.
sure, the short answer is yeah, but it's I wouldn't sugarcoat it. It's scary and it's
Yeah.
tough hitting
Yeah.
the reset button, no matter what field you're in.
But possible. Hard hats and heels. Well, I want to thank you so much for shouting out your mom. You can get her book on Amazon or at independent bookstores tomorrow.
It's hitting the shelves tomorrow, but you can get it right now. AboutYourFatherBook.com. It's there. That's my mom. She's 82, already a New York Times bestselling author. That's my dad. He's 87 and the most interesting cat walking around on the planet. And that's me, horrified, because my mother has been writing me letters about my dad for 30 years, and now they're in a book.
And I saw she said she's been married for 60-something years.
Wow.
They've been married, right?
It's honestly, it's their relationship is unlike any I've ever seen. They're still in love. I think they still mess around, and they write stories about each other. It's super weird.
Well, I think it's
Thank
so
you.
great. We love
Thank you so
mother-son
much.
things. Yes. And if you want to apply for those scholarships, or you could follow Mike Rowe Works on Instagram and then apply for that and look up the Sweat Pledge. And then most also important tonight, you can watch Returning the Favor, or you can check it out on Facebook Watch anytime. It's feel good TV, feel good internet, feel good programming, whatever you want to call it. And I want to thank you so much, Mike, for joining us today. And
did I do this right? I've never done this on Instagram before.
No,
Am I looking in the right place? Did it work?
You were the earliest we've ever seen. You were on time by ahead of show by 2 minutes.
Well,
yes.
Look, I have nothing. I can't blame it on the commute. Like if I can't get down to the office on time in my own house,
you'd be surprised how
Yeah,
many
you would
people
be.
have been struggling with this. Really, people who have trades, they're struggling. But we want to thank you so much.
You're
Mike
welcome.
Rowe, Returning the Favor, Mike Rowe Works, you name it, sweating, pledging, work ethic. He's got it all covered.
Thank you again.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Thank you,
Take
Mike.
care.
Thank you.
Be well. Bet.
Bye-bye.
Oh, whoops.
You,
We showed your
there you
office
go.
in for a
There,
second.
that's very good. Well, he was incredible.
He
So,
was really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
really
Really
good.
good information for all different ages, different areas of life, different expertise, different kind of everything.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
you enjoyed him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought he was really smart. I mean,
He is
I knew
really
he's really smart, but
Yeah.
I thought he gave some really good, although he didn't feel like he pinpointed some sort of form of advice for people that are in their, graduating. I think just the idea that it's, it's never too late to hit the reset button, and you can always, change roads that you're on is great enough advice. I believe that, a lot of kids that do get those 4-year degrees don't feel like they could go and do that kind of craftsmanship or trades work or anything like that, because it doesn't yield to what they feel like the education they got. But hearing him say that there's welders or craftsmen and stuff like that are making 6 figures is kind of a great way to show that it's possible.
And a lot of women are going into these professions and doing really well in construction and welding and trucking and all of those sort of things. But what I think he said is that he's trying to elevate the profile of these jobs, and that's what his foundation is doing
Right.
so well. And so many people here are saying, oh, can we rewatch? Yeah, you can rewatch it on stories
And YouTube after.
But I think he had great advice also about work ethic. Everybody's going to have to grind it out, no matter your age. We're all going to have to shift, reboot, get on the new path. And I think he's really such a testament to hard work, to not thinking any job is beneath you, starting at the bottom and shifting and trying something new. So all these kids who are graduating, Marcus Lemonis said, go live in your parents' basement and start working for an internship or work for free. He's also saying, go get a skill.
Yeah. Get a skill. Well, I think the interning is, you are getting a skill in a way. I mean, I think that's what Marcus was saying, is when you're working under someone and you're working for them
that
for
is
free, you're
yeah.
I mean, you're learning from them, and you're getting the skills from that person you're learning from. And it's so interesting that kind of his charitable is charity organization and stuff is so different than college. It's so similar yet
Michael
so different.
Rourke said we did a good job.
Oh, okay,
Michael
that's great.
Rourke is the producer of
know
Returning
Michael
the
Rourke.
Favor.
Oh, yeah.
Returning the Favor on Facebook Watch.
Facebook Watch.
Yes, we want Facebook Watch to do our show.
Yeah, pick us up, Facebook Watch.
Come on, Facebook Watch. Okay. Anyway, we want to thank you. I want to thank Mike Rowe.
Yes.
Yes, he is inspiring. And I really admire the work he's doing, all the scholarships he's handed out, and all the lives he's changed through his foundation, and all the lives they're changing. I'm returning the favor.
Yes.
I love that.
Since we didn't introduce ourselves, we'll give a closing goodbye. I'm Patrick Schwarzenegger.
And I'm his mother, Maria Shriver. So maybe when you're like Mike Rowe, you'll be promoting me when I'm 80.
Of course.
Don't forget about me when I'm 80.
I never will.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be here all week long, bringing you people we hope that are inspiring, motivating, helping, and that have ideas to help you at any stage in life, because we all need help at every stage of life. So have a good Monday.
Have a great Monday.
And we'll see you.
Great start to the week.
Yes.
And we'll see you tomorrow and every other day after that.
Okay. Bye.